the chair of the National Academy of Engineering's Council, Dr. Irwin M. Jacobs, director and founder of Qualcomm Incorporated, who will co-officiate the ceremonies this evening. I'd like now to welcome Irwin to you to come up to the podium.
Thank you, Chuck, and welcome to all of you. Recognized as the world's most prestigious award for engineering achievement, the Charles Stark Draper Prize honors the engineers behind the world's most significant innovations. To date, 33 engineers have received this honor. Tonight, we add 2 more to that distinguished list. But first, I would like to introduce Mr. Jim Shields, CEO and President of the Charles Stark Draper Laboratory, to share with you the legendary engineer behind this prize, Doc Draper. Oh, that's right.
It's a real pleasure as Draper Laboratories President to continue our long association with the National Academy and to share with you a little background on Charles Stark Draper and the laboratory he founded. Doc Draper was the consummate engineer and inventor who, in his long career as a professor of aeronautics and astronautics at MIT, pioneered the application of gyroscopes, first for stabilized gun sights during World War II, and later to inertial navigation for precise vehicle positioning. Recognized as the father of inertial navigation, the impact of Doc's work in his field would almost certainly have qualified him for the NAE honor that now bears his name. In addition to being an engineer who loved to be in the lab, he was a great educator who trained generations of students in aerospace engineering at MIT. His belief that engineering education needed a hands-on component led him to establish the instrumentation laboratory within MIT's Aero Department. Consequently, it's most appropriate to give the Draper Prize to honor Doc's legacy during National Engineers Week, whose major purpose is to recognize engineering accomplishments and to attract today's students to the profession. In 1973, the Instrumentation Lab was spun out of MIT to create the not-for-profit Draper Laboratory that today is recognized as a world leader in guidance, navigation, and control. Doc was the driving force behind the laboratory until his death in 1987. The most significant accomplishments of Draper Lab under Doc's leadership were ballistic missile guidance and space guidance and control. Draper Laboratory has designed the guidance system for every submarine-launched ballistic missile the U.S. has ever deployed, and we also developed the guidance system that took man to the moon during the Apollo program. While I never had the privilege of working with him personally, many of my colleagues' careers were shaped by their interactions with Doc, and stories are still told about him around the lab. He was quite a character and a real showman. Doc once presented a technical paper on the West Coast about the ability to navigate an airplane relying solely on information from inertial sensors. When the skeptical audience questioned him, Doc presented data from the first transcontinental inertial-only flight. The data had been collected the day before as Doc flew into the conference from Boston on a plane navigated by one of his inertial systems. To demonstrate his confidence in the lab's Apollo design, Doc wrote to James Webb at NASA, volunteering to make the first flight to the moon. Doc was serious about this, despite the fact that he was in his late 60s at the time. Since his death, Draper Laboratory has continued Doc's vision of demonstrating first-of-a-kind solutions to some of the nation's most challenging technical problems. We have pioneered the development of micro-electromechanical systems, MEMS, designing the world's most accurate MEMS gyros and accelerometers, as well as applying the technology in areas from chemical sensors to tissue engineering. We are also leaders in autonomous unmanned systems, vanishingly small electronics, and biomedical engineering. Draper Laboratory is pleased to honor Francis Arnold and Willem Stemmer as this year's winners of the Draper Prize for their work in directed evolution. With directed evolution, they harness the biological process of mutation by screening and recombination to reinforce favorable characteristics to create new proteins tailored to specific applications. Like Bob Langer, the first person to win the Draper Prize for a life science-related accomplishment, Arnold and Stemmer's work is illustrative of the emerging field of convergence, which integrates engineering, the physical sciences, and the life sciences to solve problems in healthcare, energy, and other sectors. On behalf of all the staff at the Draper Laboratory, I'd like to congratulate Francis Arnold and Tim Stemmer as this year's winner of the Draper Prize.